Welcome to Love and Lattes, the podcast designed for women who are ready to stop settling and start living a life full of authentic love, confidence, and real connection. I'm your host, Victoria, the self-love scientist, speaker, and coach, and I'm here to help you reclaim your power, deepen your relationships, and fall unapologetically in love with yourself. So grab your tea, your latte, or your favorite beverage, and let's get started.
So many people think love is enough, but what do you think really sustains a long-term relationship, especially through the ups and downs? Well, babes, today on this episode of Love and Lattes, I am joined by Byron and Margaret. That's right. I have the duo, and they have been married for over 27 years. But it's not just 27 years, it's 27 years of lessons, laughs, and loves. And today, they're going to share on how a successful marriage is possible beyond the I do. Welcome, Byron and Margaret.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. We're excited to be here with you.
Yes.
Me too. I'm over the moon that you guys get to be here. And I remember when we first chatted, it was easy just to kind of like scroll around. I was like, oh, I have so many questions. But I would love to kind of start off by leading you guys into sharing like what inspired you to even create your own podcast. And then you also published a book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was I'd have to say it was the lack of togetherness that I would see on social media. If you look at the algorithm was showing us that people were just not staying together or complaining about their mates or, just all sorts of negativity. And so her and I were thinking about, just making a presence on social media because we come from the generation that told our kids, you're gonna never make no money playing on that computer. But here we are. So, we wanted to make a presence on social media, the both of us, and I never wanted to do anything negative, just wanted to be something positive. So after seeing all these negative comments about marriage, I was watching a Steve Harvey TV show episode one day, and they had couples that had been on for, had been married for 20 plus years, and the longest running couple had been married over 50 years. So, and they asked the normal, typical questions, about communication. So I'm like, well, what is communication? And then the idea hit me. I said, well, we can start a podcast, and because I wanted to spread, the happy and healthy part of marriage, not the negative stuff, not the ball and chain logic or anything like that. So when I approached her about it, I said, well, let's do a podcast and just talk about us, just talk about how we navigated. At the time it was 24 years. So it took us a year?
About a year to
about a year to actually record. And so we hit the button on the first episode, and now it's been 3.5 years, and we're just enjoying the love and the flight.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And the name of your podcast is called
The Beyond I Do podcast.
Beautiful. And so you made a really good comment earlier, Byron, when you talked about there's a lot of negative comments, and I would say, like, if I were to go on social media, there is like this really, I would say increased strive for people to be like, be independent, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can do it. Marriage is scary and don't do it. And I myself was married before, and then I separated and, went through my own healing process. What do you think it is that is creating like this negativity? What do you think is holding people back from actually experiencing, real partnership and creating, like you guys have this 27 years?
Excuse me. There's a lot of unrealistic expectations, I think. I think that as a whole, we have gotten away from extending grace to others, and we make up in our mind that we have this partner and this is what marriage is going to look like. And the minute that that partner does something that we didn't expect, or the marriage doesn't look like we expected, then it's difficult to sit in that and figure it out. It's easier to walk away. And I think that the more that we've done this, the more that we've met other couples and things like that. I think one of the big things too is people go into a partnership with the wrong person. Um, a lot of times people think that there was someone who said, women will get married thinking that after marriage, the man will change, wanting him to change. Whereas men think that after marriage, the woman will not change. And so I think that there's a lot of unrealistic expectations, and then entering into a partnership with someone that you probably are entering into that partnership for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
I think that's a good point. I have heard, and I can definitely say that having this unrealistic expectation, in your mind when walking into a partnership, like what are your intentions? Having those tough conversations before even considering, like, hey, are we both for marriage? Are we both for children? And are we both, do we believe in like the equal parts when it comes to the relationship? So I definitely see where you're coming from. And for your own marriage, even this is in your book too, and then I'm sure it's on your podcast, but you mentioned how, friendship is the foundation of partnership, or is the foundation of marriage. Can you share how that's shown up for your own relationship?
It well, the friendship factor for us is we started out as friends. We met each other at 16, 17 years old, and call ourselves kind of dating, but I was trying to explore the young ladies and be what they call what we used to call a player back then. And that didn't work out so well for me because
Well, because you're an honest person.
yeah. I'm just really not that kind of a guy. So, but we remained friends throughout the years, and for about 4.5 years, we kept contact with each other. I had a relationship that I had gotten into after high school, and she had moved away and went off to school. So when she would come home, she'd always call me, and we would get together, have lunch or have dinner, and go on about our lives. And 3 or 4 months later, here we go reconnecting again. And so, you know, once when she finally, I think you had a situation, and she had to move back home. So I was here, and so I was like, okay. And I'd already be thinking in my head, like, if you ever get the chance, I'm gonna, see what this relationship is, how it's gonna go. And so when she contacted me one time, and she was like, well, I moved back home. So I'm like, okay, it's now or never at this point. And so, I helped her move her furniture. And once she got back in town, we just started hanging out like every day, every day. And then that led to us a relationship. Can't specify when the relationship started. All I know is almost a year later, she moved back in January, in December of 97, January of 97, in December of 97, we were pregnant. And we got married on the 13th, December 13th, and had our son on December 20th.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
and that friendship,
Mm.
at that point, we had both seen good, bad, and ugly of each other.
Yeah.
So that part, there was a level of comfort there. And then throughout our marriage, it's hard to stay angry with your friend.
Yeah.
It's hard when I'm upset with him. I don't want to speak to him, but then I see this really funny video and I can't send it to him because I'm angry. Um, so that friendship, it makes us very aware of how we treat each other. It makes us very aware of how we move in terms of how we present each other to others, if that makes sense. Because that's my friend. I don't want to lose my friend. I don't want to upset my friend. I don't want to hurt his feelings. And so I think that because we started as friends,
Yeah.
and I know that everyone doesn't necessarily get that opportunity, but that's one of the things that we stress is even in your marriage, you can cultivate a friendship, and that brings about a closeness and a connection that then translates into the romantic relationship and so on.
And also the fact that we were friends. We had already shared a lot of intimate details about our history and background, as far as we were willing to share at that point in time. So we developed a level of respect for each other. So, going forward in the marriage, it was like, well, I was like, I'm not going to do my best to not disrespect her because she had been through a lot in her childhood. So, I chose to move accordingly, the best way that I could on my maturity level. And, made some mistakes and I stumbled, but she gave grace when I did. And also, it was just nothing like, having a good day-to-day interaction with my friend. Because, regardless of whether the marriage would have worked out or not, I still wanted my friend in my life. So, that made us fight a lot harder to kind of grow together and keep things solid, as best as we could.
I wasn't going to be his friend if we
Oh,
divorced.
yeah, you.
No, I wasn't.
I was gonna make you.
I would have stopped being his friend, but anyways.
I think you've definitely brought up a lot of words that I'm a huge fan of, like using the word choose, granting each other grace. And obviously there's the friendship, which I feel like these terms are still kind of new for those who are in relationships or considering relationships or even partnerships. And I'm curious, like, and I'm sure it depends on if you want to share or not, but I feel like this kind of takes time, to create that grace for each other. And, you know, like you said, you don't want to be mad at your friend, but there are times where you're like, oh, you upset me. What are some tools or experiences that helped you guys navigate when, like, those down moments happen, or, you're annoying and I kind of need a little bit of space?
So I think that at the very core of everything, I know he's a good person. And so extending grace to him when he makes a mistake was not hard.
Yeah.
I also know that there were times when he may have done something and my reaction to what he did was not the best. And so that need for accountability um, in my actions also came into play. And this, just keeping in mind that we're humans and we will make mistakes.
Yeah.
There are times, I think it was the beginning of the summer, we had a riff where I told him I felt like he disregarded what I was saying, and in turn he disregarded what I said. And so I didn't handle it properly, because once I voiced what I felt based on his actions and he didn't receive it, I just stopped speaking to him until a few days later. So we're still learning how to manage those emotions and those feelings. I think it's just important to realize that we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't feel that anything he's ever done was malicious and meant to hurt me.
Mm.
And I hope that he understands anything I've ever done was not with the intent, okay, I'm going to hurt him.
Yeah.
And as long as I know that's not the intent, then it makes it easy to say, okay, we need to stop this. Now, the second part is a bit dysfunctional. However, because of how I grew up, I don't do well with unresolved things just sitting there. And so I've had to learn that he needs time to kind of process things separately. And I need to know that, okay, you're processing it separately, but I need to know we're okay in the meantime and that we're going to come back together. All of those things come from either conversations, we would write letters to one another, we would send text messages, whatever way we needed to feel comfortable communicating something, as long as we are open and honest and clear about what's going on. And that comes in time, but it also comes with just being vulnerable, um, and understanding that if I do tell him, okay, I need time to breathe alone, or what you did hurt my feelings and I just need to process it. It's nothing is malicious towards him.
Yeah.
It's just me needing that time. And I think that's important too. Going back to what I said previously about the right person, um, understanding that we don't have ill intent towards each other helps to be able to feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable and to say, okay, I didn't like that. If you have those feelings like you're apprehensive, then you might need to think the whole situation if it's
Yeah.
someone that you can't go to and speak to like that.
And also, for us, we had to learn to understand each other's form of communication and how we navigate in our brains. So arguing it solved nothing for us. It just kind of made things worse because you end up bringing up stuff from the past or bringing up this situation or that situation. I know for me, my brain couldn't function fast enough. So a lot of times, she would bring up two or three things and I would, still be thinking about the first thing she said. And I couldn't respond in the way that I want to, or if I did respond, her reaction was a little bit different than I thought in my head. You know what I'm saying? So that didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Excuse me. So I learned to write things down. I learned to, before we had those great phones that we used to have, that we have now, I started, just writing letters. And then, fast forward to today, if we have any conflict, if we want to get anything across and we need to get it across to each other, we text each other. Even if it's, we might have went to bed, not speaking to each other. The next day, there's going to be a text like, hey, apologize about what I said. I didn't mean it that way. And a lot of times when you're able to read what your partner fully said, then it gives you the ability to kind of process things. And then you can come back with your whatever rebuttal you decide to, but it kind of keeps things in a calm manner for the most part. Even though you're angry, you're just like, well, at least we're not yelling. It's hard to yell with text unless you're typing all caps.
No, I think those are really good points. And Margaret, I really appreciate those two that you said earlier, especially the one about knowing that when something does occur and you're like, well, it's not that I intended to upset or anger you or, or the way I react is not to do that either. That's just me having a human reaction and feelings that I might need a little bit longer to process.
Yes.
Right.
And then Byron, you brought up something interesting about, there's that whole saying that you never want to go to bed angry.
Yeah.
So if you do go to bed and there's obviously there's tension, do you feel like it's kind of part of that relationship to understand how to cope with it? Or how do you guys go through that or process that?
Um, I know that, like during those situations when we do have conflict, I mean, we can go to bed and
You don't want to you don't want to
you
push it with me.
know.
You don't you don't want me to speak before it's time. But and I think it's important that I think the intent of that is good in that you don't want things to linger.
Mm,
But the reality of it is some of us process things differently.
yeah.
Sometimes we need that cooling off space. Like I said, he processes things differently. He needs to be by himself to kind of clear his mind and see. For me, if I am put in a situation to where I feel I need to react, I will. And and once you say it, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to say anything to hurt him out of anger, knowing that I don't mean it. I just felt pushed to say something. So that's something that we
Mm,
respect. And it we may be on separate sides of the bit. Like you could probably put two people between the two of
yeah.
us
Yeah. Sleep on the edge.
in those moments because we're just as far apart as possible. But honestly, in those times, then it's like the next day, I'm like, okay, we got to hurry up and
Mm,
talk about this
'cause we're
because
used to
I didn't sleep good last night.
Yeah, we're used to touching you. And two, when you know your partner, it's like, okay, when I know, like when I get short answers, okay, this is not the time to be bringing stuff up. I get those short answers like, what you want to eat? I'm fine. Okay.
Those words are dangerous.
Worry about myself, and I'm not gonna try to ask any questions or have a conversation right now because it's not going to go off well, and just learn that I need to wait, either an hour or two, or hell, even the next day, depending on how short those answers get. But I mean,
I'm in therapy, I'm
but
working.
that's when you know your partner, you know the behaviors, you know what pissing them off. You know what gets them there. So it's like, why would you want to egg that on?
Mhm.
It's like, well, you egg it on, and then you're gonna hear something you don't want to hear, and then and that's the way to get through those things. It's like just understanding that we are human and we are going to have those ways that we communicate, and it's just figuring out, okay, well, now I know how to handle this. So going further, we're going to have some conflict, but we're going to know how to handle it in the future instead of,
Mhm.
just egging on. Egging on does nothing. It
Right.
just creates a negative wave that sometimes you can't come back from.
Yeah. No, this has been like really expansive, and a lot of the things you're saying, I absolutely love and adore, especially when it comes to understanding and knowing like how
Mm.
your partner communicates and recognizing like, okay, you need space. And then Margaret, I hear you very, very much. Like I am the kind of person where I'm like, I need to know we're okay, even though I may have started.
Right.
But also like, and needing to tuck away, but also like exactly what Byron said, we might feel angry, but we can't take back that anger. So it's better, let's give ourselves some space and the grace again. And then let's come back again. Maybe it's through text like, hey, I'm really sorry.
And what we're learning, and I've been in individual therapy for going on 5 years, and he just recently started couple sessions with me. And what we're learning is some of the ways that we've learned to cope with certain things have not necessarily been the best way. But even though I may be the one who says, well, no, I didn't like that, or I didn't like how you responded to that, um, he's sometimes oblivious to the fact that there's even a problem. Because for me, it started with me. There was a situation where something was said to him that someone said they had seen me in public with another man. And he said, I don't believe that. That's not my wife. And so when he told me that, I was pissed that he wasn't pissed. I'm like, why didn't you say? And he said, I just told him it wasn't. So for me, it was, no, you were supposed to react this way. But for him, it was, why would I react that way when I didn't believe it? So that in and of itself, just how we handle things is different. But I had to hear hear why he responded that way. He had to hear why I was angry about it. And now I get we're not the same. We're not going to respond the same way to things. But when I need reassurance that your lack of anger or what have you is not necessarily because you're not defending me. You didn't feel like you needed to defend anything, if that makes sense. Just learning to understand we're two separate people, but we've come together to create our relationship. How he deals with things, how I deal with things, it's going to be different, but it has nothing to do with the amount of love or all of these things we've learned. And like I said, these are things that we're learning. We learned various coping skills throughout our marriage, but now we're understanding where some of the behaviors came from. And so it's even easier now to spot those things and to stop them. And I say that, I mean, for me to stop those things, because for me, it's just making sure that we're okay and not reading into every little thing and looking and finding more than it really is, because he's a man. It's very surface.
And also, having that deep communication with each other, being, well, first of all, excuse me, part of security is feeling comfortable. It's being able to be vulnerable and not, and to know that it stays within us. When she is able to have a memory from her past and she wants to share it, that she trusts that I'm not going to go telling friends and go telling other people her deep, dark secrets. And when she communicates to me that, well, if this happened to me, okay, now I understand as your husband that it's not me. You're not responding that way because of me. You're responding because of a trauma that you've dealt with in your life. So that gives me the ability to give her the grace to say, okay, well, it's not me. Because a lot of times when we do have things happen, we take offense to it. A touch and you touch on the shoulder and they pull away. You tend to take that as, okay, well, they mad at me, or they're upset with me. But then when she explained to me, well, I had been touched when I was a child. Okay, well, now I know where that comes from. And so having that ability to listen as well as communicate anything that you have dealt with in the past. And those are the type of things that we've done. And along with therapy to learn each other. And so now I know how to come at her. I know I can't just, how you see the pranks on online with the husbands just jump out on their wives and scare them. I know I can't do that.
No, you can't.
It's not going to be real. Not that I desire to do that, but
This has been amazing, and I really appreciate you guys' time. What is your anniversary?
December 20th. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I messed up.
So
Our son's birthday is the 20th. Our anniversary is the 13th. I messed it up.
Oh, and so this December, would that be the 27, or are we looking at 28?
28.
Oh, exciting. Well, Byron and Margaret, I am so grateful to have you guys on the podcast. I feel that you have so much wonderful information from your experiences together, from your communication methods to learning how to love each other well, even in the ups and downs of a relationship. And do you have any one last, golden nuggets for our listeners before we close out?
focus on that friendship.
Mm.
That friendship spending time getting to know your mate, and that may include investing in time, be intentional about your time together, and that may mean, if you have children, that may mean getting a babysitter, um, going out of town for a weekend, not necessarily with an agenda, but just to get away from the rat race of your life and, just communicate, sit there and relax and talk, have those times and build intimacy starts outside of the bit, and that's having those deep conversations and talking about those things that, that bother us or that hinders our growth, and being able to share those things. But sometimes you have to get in an environment to feel free to share. So that's one thing I definitely suggest.
And I would say to extend grace when necessary. A lot of times it's hard when you feel like you've been wronged or hurt, but if you really know the person that you have partnered with, understand that their actions are not meant to hurt you, even if they do, and sometimes we have to extend grace. That's just part of being human.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, guys, for being on the podcast. And I will be including Byron and Margaret's podcast and their book in the show notes. So definitely tune in and get more lessons on creating lasting love and friendship in your relationship. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you for having us.